Feelin Fab is more than another wellness podcast. We will talk about topics that also include happiness hacks, biz inspiration, how-to topics, and interviews from experts in many fields. We hope to help you navigate your life with some helpful tools and tips to keep on grooving and staying happy. Welcome to the Feelin Fab Podcast, and I'm your host, Marissa. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Feelin Fab Podcast. We talk about many different topics here, and today I'm excited to have on the show my friend Chelsie. Chelsie is a beautiful spirit and someone that I knew immediately I wanted to have on my podcast and to share some of her thoughts with you. Chelsie is just really amazing at a lot of things, but her greatest desire is to help people live a beautiful day, a beautiful life, and she really helps you get some clarity on like your thought life, healthy living tips and wellness, and simple things like food goals, and she wants to just basically be a life guide and navigator for you, but not long term. She wants you to really help undiscover some things for yourself. So with that being said, we're going to welcome to the show my good friend Chelsie Richard. Welcome to the show, Chelsie.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, Marissa. It's a pleasure to be here.
I am so excited. So we did a little live on my Instagram a couple weeks ago, and I thought it was so good, and I got some great feedback from it, which led me to wanting to start this podcast and having you as a guest on the podcast. So thanks for, coming back. And I'm so excited for those of you who don't know Chelsie to get to know her today. So Chelsie, tell us a few fun, fast facts about yourself, maybe like where you're from, a couple of your favorite foods, what you like to do for exercise, just a couple little things about you that we can get to know you.
Yeah, totally. I am a Texan born and raised, so I have always lived in Texas, although in previous jobs that I've had, it sort of led me all across the country and to international travel. But Texas has always been my home, and my roots are here, and so I'm very proud of that. And so on the average day in a week's time, you're definitely going to catch me eating chips and salsa. I think Mexican should be its own food group. So I absolutely love Mexican food and definitely don't withhold myself from that. But on the daily, you're going to find me, and I truly do enjoy just eating foods from the earth. So constantly playing in root foods and foods that have high vibration. And what that basically means is just foods that are going to really essentially come from the earth, that haven't been processed, that are local and just nutrient dense foods. And I enjoy playing in all types of recipes, all type of cocktails, mocktails, all different types of drinks and beverages, and all different types of things that really help you to just feel your absolute best. And as far as exercise, you'll find me always doing a mix. So I definitely do yoga and absolutely love yoga, but I love a good cardio class, a good HIIT class. I love to run outside sometimes, a weight class, doing weights. So I'm just constantly always mixing things up. But the one that is consistent is every single week I'm going to do yoga multiple days a week, just for the point of clearing my thoughts and clearing my head. I think it's so vital and so necessary, and to just bring life back to the breath. And just for your listeners that maybe have never done yoga, it's like if you even learn to breathe and just come to a mat or come to a towel and child's pose and breathe, that is practicing yoga. And so it's really just connecting with the breath, calming yourself so that you can get into your thoughts. And as far as things that I love to do, I love to cook. I love to set beautiful table and spreads for friends and family. I love to host. I love to read. I love writing. Just inspiring people to truly and authentically live a beautiful life every single day.
Oh, I love that so much. What are you currently reading?
So I am currently revisiting. This will probably be my fourth time to read it, but I just think it's so fabulous. I'm reading Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic. So I'm reading that. in the
I've
evening
heard great
time.
things about that book.
Oh, Big Magic is so incredible. Just truly just beautiful. Just it is the most beautifully poetic permission slip to go just live a big magical life. So I'm reading that at night, and in the day and sort of like in the morning, I'm walking my way through design of thought and emotionally healthy spirituality. So those are both really, really great.
I'll have to add those to my list for sure. And I know you love to cook, so if you had to choose only like one spice to keep in your spice cupboard, which spice would you keep
Mm,
besides salt and pepper?
yeah. Um, it's easy to narrow down to 2, um, which would be turmeric or ginger, but I guess if I absolutely had to choose one, it would be ginger. Just ginger's ability to reduce, inflammatory response. It's amazing for hormones and menstrual cramping. It's amazing for tummy issues. It's great for grounding. So I guess if I had to narrow it down to one, it would be ginger, but turmeric is like right there
I
as
love it. That's so good. I just barely bought my own bottle of turmeric. I've had like a kind of a curry spice mix that had turmeric in it, but I just bought turmeric all by its lonesome, and it's such a beautiful color. If you haven't cooked with turmeric, you should definitely add that into your spice cabinet. It's got so many great health properties too, as well as
Yeah,
ginger.
it's incredible, and I think it can be really intimidating because all people associate it with is like, "Oh my gosh, like Indian, Indian curries," and I can say that because my husband's half Indian, but there's truly so much more to it. Like, you can put it in tonics, or you can put it and make a beautiful, like, golden latte. It really is just all about playing, and just giving yourself permission to play, and kind of my guide in that every single day I try to eat the rainbow. And so if you can
Mm.
just sort of like look at that as a guide, you're much more open to playing with your foods and playing with your spices to just say every day I need to eat the rainbow. Like, oh, I haven't had blue today. What's blue? I haven't had purple today. What's purple? Oh, I need more yellow. So it's a great way to sort of, explore and play while getting all of the nutrients that you need on a daily basis.
I love that so much. That's something I try to work on too, although I'm super guilty of sometimes living a life of 50 shades of beige because I love carbs and pastries and all the delicious beige foods. But yes, eating the rainbow is so important for our health. So, Chelsie, I want to talk a little bit about like what do you do for work? What are you working on right now and what fires you up in the morning?
Totally. So, in all honesty, I have been put in a position where I am truly so blessed to where I am not in a position right now where I am having to work. And I'm so thankful for that opportunity, and I share that because if anybody knows anything about the Enneagram, I am an Enneagram 3. I am a high level achiever performer. And in every job that I've ever had, I am constantly pushing it and climbing a ladder and climbing to be as successful as I possibly can be and climbing to the top. And in the last couple of months, I really have felt so pulled to just give myself permission to sit with myself and play and ask myself what I truly wanted to do. And what that contained was just creating a platform for people to feel inspired to live a beautiful everyday. And so that entails a couple of things. So I have an essential oil business. I am a wellness advocate with doTERRA, and am so proud to do that and be that. And it is how you and I, got connected. And but that's just like a piece to the pie. As much as I enjoy educating people and helping them on their oil journey, I think, oils by themselves without teaching people how to mentally be there or how to mentally, get healthy or mentally feel more grounded. And the exercises that are paired with the beautiful oils, it really is somewhat of an injustice. And so for me, it really is providing just the platform to learn how to thought dump while you grab your balance from doTERRA, your balance oil. And what does it mean to thought dump? And what does that look like? Or what does it look like to get into mental flow? And really just like I said when we began this, being a guide to lead people to that. And a piece to that is, working with brands that support that belief system and partnering with other brands and brand strategies and, network marketing and connecting with, companies that support that. So I'm paid in in a unique way. But when I think about the work, for me, work doesn't seem like the right word. It's more like I have this incredible privilege every single day to help people connect to the things that they already possess to help them live their most beautiful life.
Oh, I love that. You just worded everything so nicely. And I feel like there's, maybe some people out there that have had a bad experience with network marketing or found a brand that they think is just not doing the right thing. And I think that that's important to know that that doesn't have to ruin it for everything else, because there's so many great brands, there's so many great products, there's so many people that are changing lives and doing really good honest work, within network marketing. And I love the way that you said it's a piece of the pie. And just as, helping people with like essential oils, for example, is a part of our pie, we also have so many other different talents and things that we're good at, and that's just a little piece of what we do. And I think that that is important to keep in mind, that people are so much more than just one little thing that they do. And that's why I love Chelsea's, because she has so many interesting things to say and to share with people, and she really does care about the work that she's doing, and she knows that it's important, and she owns that.
That's so sweet of you. I think like truly so precious of you. Those words really mean so much. I think the thing that's important for listeners to really think about when it comes to, say, network marketing, whether it's essential oils or it's a health company or it's a hair care company or whatever it is that at the end of the day, and especially where we are in our world right now, um, is that people are really looking to do the best that they can and representing what speaks to their life. And I think when we keep that in mind, maybe that does line up with your life and maybe it doesn't. And if it doesn't have to be judged. And when we judge something, that typically is there's some sort of like trigger that's happening on the inside of us that's triggering something within us that is bothersome or difficult. It really isn't about the person that has the product that we don't like. And so it's like in those moments, and I'm the same way. When I look up at something and immediately like judgment wants to come in, I've learned, through my training and my own coaching and my own therapy to stop and say, what is that bringing up in me? What is that causing me to believe? What about what they're doing or they're selling or they're sharing is triggering for me? And it gives you just this beautiful invitation to do a deep dive within your own thoughts and your own heart. And then the second thing that I would say to that is we're going to find what we're looking for. If we're looking for the negative in something, we're going to find it. And so I think it's so important for us as individuals to know what we are for, not what we're against. And I just think that if we can think about that, like, this is what I stand for. I am for this, not against this, because I mean, I already just said it. We're going to find what we're looking for.
So true. um I did some missionary work for my church, and something that like the president of our mission, he always shared really good thoughts with us, and something that's always stuck with me was, he said, what you focus on expands. And I just love that invitation, that if you're if you focus on bad things in your life, you're going to find more of it. And if you have
100%.
negativity, it's going to find you as well. So I'm always one that tries to be positive, to find the good in every situation, and to just keep an open mind. I think it's one of the biggest things, because you don't know what you don't know. And there's a whole lot of world out there outside of our bubbles that of comfortability that might benefit us. And you never know what might just come around the corner one day and totally change your life.
Absolutely. Energy flows where thoughts go. So I support that 100%.
I love that. So I know that you love to help people with their thought processes. So walk me through maybe how you help people with that, and how you help people have more of a positive thought process, or just to take maybe good things from hard situations.
Totally. Well, I think for me, this journey began years ago. I was, prior to being married to my husband, now to be married to Ryan. I want to be very clear on that. It is not Ryan. I was in a domestically abusive marriage for 6 years. And when you learn the statistic on abuse, 98% of people that are found in a domestically abusive situation um, keep returning to abusers, whether it's the same abuser or a different abuser. And I wanted to find myself in that 2%. And that 2 percentile, and that statistic is so low and it's such a depressing number. But I really do believe that that number can be elevated when we start to really dig into what leads us to traumas and what leads us to difficult situations, or staying in difficult situations. And I will never forget the thing that I said to my counselor that day when I walked in to his office for the first time. And I just said, I am not here to work on my marriage. I am here to find out what was so dysfunctional in my own thought process about myself that I would ever be attracted or led to stay in a situation with somebody that would physically harm me. And he looked at me and he said, Chelsie, you are on the right path and you have the right mindset because you know that the answers are inside of you. And I think it's, for me, I think one of the greatest tools that we have is when we realize that we are not a victim to our circumstances. We are not a victim to our environment. We are not a victim to other people. That really and truly, it is about what we believe about ourselves and our own internal environment that is causing us to make decisions outside of ourselves. And so when we understand that what I believe about me and what I choose to believe about what is happening around me, that is when I have my power back. See, so for example, if we wanted to walk through what that looked like, our world is in a global pandemic right now. So many people are, afraid, or what's going to happen here, what does all of this mean? And it's to understand that we can't control the environment, we can't control the pandemic, but I have 100% control over what I make the pandemic mean. And so for me, I have decided, for myself, that the pandemic has been this beautiful invitation to find stillness, this beautiful invitation to dig into the parts of myself that I had just sort of put on the back burner. I have given this pandemic the opportunity and the ability to extend an invitation to me to actually show me that I am so much more disciplined than I truly believed, that I am so much more capable of getting past my excuses. And so I've really made this thing that can seem super scary mean something totally different because of the way that I have chosen to shift my thoughts about what I have made this pandemic mean. And I think when we understand that all the power that we have inside of us really is within our control, we control what we make things mean. And then those meanings are what lead us to the thoughts that we think, either be elevated thoughts or toxic thoughts, and then what it means to truly feel. And all of that is triggered on what we make our circumstances mean to us. And so when we narrow that down, we have that it's all within us and it's all within our control. It's not outside of us. It's not the government. It's not global crisis. It's me. We absolutely give our power back, and we have 100% permission to go grab our superhero cape, put it around our neck, and go transcend to the next place because all the power is within us.
Chelsie, that was so powerful. Thank you for sharing that.
Oh, of course.
Um, I think that there's many people out there that might be listening to this podcast and thinking like, I know that my thoughts aren't what I wish they were, or I wish that I could change some of my thought patterns. And if they wanted to start working on that, like how do you even start changing how you feel?
So I think one of the biggest things that people need to take into consideration, and I think right now is the perfect time. We're in such a pace that is so still and so slow. And I really do think it is a true gift to allow us to really do some deep dive. And so if someone is sitting with themselves and thinking, I want to change my thoughts about myself, I want to change my thoughts about, this situation that happened to me or what's happening in the world, I think first and foremost, what we have to do is grab a blank piece of paper and actually write out, what am I thinking? What am
Mm.
I thinking? What am I making that thought mean? What is, and then what is that leading me to, like, what emotions rising up? I think after that would be, so what emotion am I feeling? Is that fear? Is that lack? Is that insecurity? And then when you take that emotion, what does that feel like in the body? I'm huge on energetic frequency in the body because it's real. Whether we want to acknowledge it or not, the energy realm and the energy world is so real and absolutely scientifically measured. Whether it be the auric field, which would be the 6 feet out from around our body, and the energy that flows through us, what does that emotion feel like in your body? See, so often people are like, my feelings are hurt, or I feel sad, or I feel this. Get down nitty gritty. Where do you feel that? Are you feeling that at your heart? Are you feeling that on your solar plexus? Are you feeling it in your knee? Where are you feeling it? And then what does it feel like? What's your breathing like? Are you taking short, spastic breaths? Is your breath deep? Are you able to actually even catch your breath? And I think when you can acknowledge those things and give yourself permission to actually become very aware of what is happening based off of that thought, you're then able to identify what you actually want to change. Maybe you want to change your emotion about the thought.
Mm.
Maybe once you feel that, you think, I don't want to feel that way about this thought. And I'll give an example on that. For me, having been
Okay.
in an abusive situation, I maybe felt scared. And I felt scared around men. So when I came to the place where I, began dating Ryan and married Ryan, I decided I no longer want to feel afraid and vulnerable around men in this way, because I identified what that thought was, what the emotion was being triggered, and the emotion was complete fear. My breathing was so short, my heart was racing. So, how I felt that was a racing heart, and it didn't feel safe. And I felt like I was running for safety. And those feelings did not match the description of the man that Ryan is. And so I decided I wanted to abandon and exchange those outdated thoughts about men with other thoughts. And so I decided what I wanted to feel about men is that there are good men in the world, and I can feel totally safe. And I can feel safe to express myself and be loved in return for who I am. And so allowing myself to feel those things and figure what emotions that I had and where those emotions were playing out of my feelings. See, a feeling is an emotion. A feeling is an actual feeling. Where
Yeah.
am I feeling this? What's happening? What's going on within my physical body? And then I think once we identify with the feelings that aren't actually feeling thoughts, or we want to change our thought about a situation, I think it's super important at that place. You've got to get out that energy. And so there's lots of different resources out there and things that you can do. But one for me is just, if, let's say, it's fear. And I want to rid myself of not feeling fear with this. That energy is trapped in me somewhere. So it actually has become matter within the body, and it's a trapped energy. And so I want to remove that from my body so that I can be back into a flowing energetic field, right? So, what for me does fear sound like? And it may be different at different times, but what's coming to my mind right now is that fear may be like, I have my hand on my heart. I'm imagining my heart racing, and that maybe if that emotion needed to come out, it's very like just allowing it to come out so that I am now open and I'm free and I'm able to get back into a more free flowing art field. And so it's giving ourselves permission to actually express ourselves completely contrary to what we were taught when we were toddlers, when it's sit down, be still, and be quiet. That it
Mhm.
actually is the complete opposite. It's movement, it's sound. And so that's kind of the long answer, but I think it begins with pulling out that piece of paper and willing to allow yourself to be vulnerable, to put pen to paper and actually read what's happening in the darkness of your thoughts and bring it to light so that you can take the next step.
I love that so much. And there's so much science behind thought and our emotional responses, and the feelings that we feel are chemical reactions that happen in our brain. Our body can release so many different chemicals like serotonin and
Totally.
dopamine, oxytocin. And if we can find some really good outlets, or just things that give us more positive emotions to help counterbalance maybe some of the negative ones that come along, I think that can be so helpful. So making sure, like Chelsie said, I love writing down and maybe keeping a journal is such a great outlet for thoughts, feelings, emotions. Sometimes you got to cry it out, but then you have to find replacements for some of those negative feelings, energies, and you got to find places to put your I just lost it. You have to find somewhere to put the negative energy and to replace it with good ones. Do you agree with that, or is that just something that I think?
No, I think it totally is that. It's that when we step outside of the circumstance, or the situation, we we really do get to decide what we want to make that mean. And so often we attach um, just cookie cutter meanings to things. Say, take the pandemic, for example. Oh my gosh, global pandemic. I am attaching fear and anxiety and anxiousness and lack and fear and all of these things because that's what you do during a pandemic. Versus, okay, there's a pandemic. What am I going to make this pandemic mean? What does the pandemic mean to me? And understanding that you get to decide. Each of us have 100% power within inside of us to decide what we want to make that mean for us. And because from those thoughts are where the emotions and feelings come, and it is definitely scientifically proven that our brain only knows how to do, like, it literally only knows how to process to a place of like love, essentially like life or death. And when the brain does not know the difference between being chased by a tiger in the jungle, or I'm doing something new that I've never done before, like painting a wall. Your lower brain will tell you the exact it feels the exact same way. Both scenarios feel the exact same way.
Fight or fight response.
Totally. And so it's calming your brain down. And for me, I've gotten very into just allowing the emotion that wants to come to come. There is an old Indian theology that says our emotions come to visit us, and I actually find this to be so beautiful because I think when we can stop treating fear as the enemy and treating him as a friend, we will grow leaps and bounds. So when fear comes to visit me, or fear comes to visit, it's thank you so much, fear, what for coming to see me. What are you trying to say to me? And most of the time, fear puts his little head down and he just says, you're trying something totally new that you've never done before, and I don't want you to fail. And so it's thank you so much, fear, for having my back. Thank you for caring about my outcome and my reputation. But this isn't going to kill me. I'm not going to die here. I'm simply learning to paint a wall in a totally new way. And it really then is just this such beautiful dialogue with the emotions where you don't necessarily say this is good or bad, that fear isn't necessarily bad and I'm going to stuff it and pretend like fear didn't come to visit me today, but to completely open up the door to fear or completely open up the door to worry and allow them to share with you what they're trying to share with you so that you can process that and feel it and get the sound and the authentic sound that would come with the emotion out of you so that you can transcend to the new place. And I think when we view our emotions as just our friends that want to help us transcend to the next place, we really are able to set ourselves free and feel so much more empowered to discover ourselves in totally new ways.
Amazing. I love everything that you said so much. All right, Chelsie, kind of one last random question, but thank you so much for sharing that again.
Totally.
I know that you and I both know the power of aromatherapy, its influence on our brain, and our behaviors. So I would love to know, for any of our other essential oil lovers, what's one of your favorite oils or blends that you love to use for thought clearing in particular?
Totally. If it's going to be thought clearing for me, it really does come down to if I'm going to just inhale it from my hands or like put it on my hands or wrists, it absolutely is vetiver. Vetiver is what brought me to essential oils. I struggled a lot with when I came to, doTERRA 5 years ago with an inability to focus, like to really be able to focus on one thing. And so I really love the idea of vetiver like on the wrists and smelling from the wrist, not from the palm. It smells totally different in the palm of the hand. The palms are much warmer than the wrists are. So actually on the wrist, inhale from the wrist, and you want to take like 3 to 4 super deep cleansing breaths. And my recommendation is in the nose, deep in the nose, hold the top out the mouth, do that 3 times, and then reverse it. In the mouth, out the nose, in the mouth, out the nose. And then as far as a blend in the diffuser, I really, really love elevation, balance, and patchouli. Just that combination of those 3 is so uplifting. It's grounding. You've literally have every single element. So you've got your earth, fire, water, and air combinations and all of those. And so you're going to feel extremely like grounded within your body and feel very, very safe to clear your thoughts and process your emotions and your feelings.
I love that. I'm going to have to try that later today, and I will tag you on Instagram.
Well, and let me know, like, did it help you? Like,
Yeah,
you'll just have to let me know, like, what came up for you? Like, what came up in your thought life? And you and I have had some private conversations about thought life and things. So you'll just have to let me know, like, how that pans out for you.
I would love to. I will definitely do that. Speaking of Instagram, where can people connect with you if they want, to see what you're up to or just connect with you, maybe have any type of one-on-one sessions, some sort of strategy or navigation lessons? Where's a good place to find you, like on Instagram, Facebook, website, any type of that stuff?
Totally. So my Instagram handle is just my name. So it's at Chelsie B. Richard. And Chelsie is just spelled Chelsie, and then B, and then last name Richard. So they can find me there, or at my sister handle that is just kind of all things marriage, life, inspiration, just beautiful things, beautiful table. That handle
Food.
is at food. Yes. That handle is at Dust and Rib. So you can find me at either one of those places, and anyone can private DM me on either of those handles at any time. I would be more than happy to help you detox any thoughts or get you to a place where you are functioning or operating in the flow and share any resources that have been helpful for me.
Awesome. And I do have to just shout out that I had a private session with Chelsie a couple months ago. We've had a couple of them, and it's been really great. I've only been to therapy a few times, so I don't know if I would compare it to therapy, but you really helped me kind of dig into some of my thought processes and deciding what I want for my future and some goals on how to get there. So I would just encourage everyone to reach out to Chelsie, see if you can set something up with her. And I know that she also mentioned she was going to offer a free download for our listeners just here on the podcast on some thought clearing exercises. So I will have that linked in our show notes that you can click the description box or wherever you are. Go find the blog post. You can find Chelsea's free download as well. I'm so excited to check that out.
It would be fun.
All right. Well, Chelsie, thank you so much for sharing with us today. And I hope that this encouraged all of you guys to dive a little bit more into your thoughts, because really having a clear thought process and positivity around you is something that helps you live a very fabulous life. So
Totally.
thank you, Chelsie.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure to connect with you and your listeners, and I hope everyone has just a beautiful day today.
All right. Thank you. We'll catch up with you later. Hey everyone, Marissa here. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of the podcast. If you did, please head over and give it a rating and a review, because it really helps the podcast to get seen by other people. It has good ratings, and I know that it's still a new podcast, but even more so to get it out into the world. I feel like I have some awesome messages and people that I want to share with everyone. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please head over to Chelsea's Instagram and give her a follow there to keep up with her awesome recipes and other tips on living a super high, vibrant life. Thank you, and we'll catch you in the next episode.